Okay, so this is just a quick one. Everyone is talking about the Nintendo Switch 2, and especially after statements were just released about what could be next for the Switch, I figured now is as good a time as any to basically just chime in with my thoughts. Before we begin, if you enjoy the content, like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think about all of this. Am I wrong? Am I just the dumbest person ever who shouldn't talk about this type of stuff anymore? Let me know. Of course, I am still going to talk about this sort of stuff, but your opinion is appreciated. Let's begin. So last week, Nintendo made a few statements about the Switch, and a few different YouTubers seem to make a reference to this being them going for a next-gen console, which I don't think is entirely correct, at least not yet. Let's go into the statement first, and that is from President Shuntaro Furukawa, hopefully I said that right, who says, "Our current generation game system, Nintendo Switch, has entered its 4th year since launch, but its momentum is increasing. We believe there are two factors behind this. First is the existence of two hardware configurations with different characteristics in Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch Lite. The second factor is that Nintendo development resources are concentrated on developing content for a single platform, Nintendo Switch. We want to extend the life cycle of Nintendo Switch while maximizing such advantages." Now, I should say that the director of Nintendo also made a statement, but I don't think that that's really relevant in allowing us to see what possibilities Nintendo has coming to consumers right away. So if you want to know what he said, I'm sure you can do a little bit of research. But looking at just this statement, I think it's pretty obvious we're not going to be getting a Switch 2 or Switch Extra, whatever you want to call it, Switch Up just yet. There's a couple reasons for that, and it's not just this statement that tells me that, by the way, in case you're wondering where my thought process is going. We will get to that. Just let's get to this one first, though. The most important part of that statement, and there's basically two important parts to focus on. Note that the momentum for the Switch is increasing, and that is because the system itself is pretty great. I won't lie to you, people love this thing. They enjoy the games. Breath of the Wild, Mario, Odyssey, these are huge selling points for the console, along with things like Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. And those are just the first party titles, okay? There's a whole slew of indie stuff people have gotten into and other games that have been ported to the Switch over time. It's just one of those scenarios where people are loving the idea of being able to take their games on the go. And then we have, the releases of both the Switch and the Switch Lite, which basically just keeps this whole system in the spotlight, especially with the lower price point for the Lite. Let's be honest, parents and kiddies are probably just loving life when it comes to Christmas time because they don't have to spend as much to get a Nintendo console. And the next thing that we should look at is the very last sentence there, where President Furukawa made it clear that Nintendo wants to extend the life cycle of the Nintendo Switch. Now, does that mean their next-gen console is around the corner? I don't think that's a very likely scenario, and this next-gen idea would need something to basically, I'd say, differentiate itself from the Switch, and honestly, just having upgraded hardware does not make it a different console at all, realistically. It would still literally be a Switch, and I know that they did that kind of with the 3DS and the DS, and then even the 2DS. It basically did just upgrade the hardware, but the 3DS came first and now had that whole 3D gimmick, which, let's be honest, everyone just turned off straight away and played their games regularly. But that's not the point. If they're intending to call it a Switch 2, I can see why that would work if they do upgrade the hardware and whatnot, but it wouldn't be smart to do that now while this system is basically picking up steam, and they want to keep selling this one. I don't think they would want to sell the next one just yet, if they can still get as much money and squeeze as many pennies out of this system as they can. So here's my thoughts on what will likely happen. People most often say that we won't get a Pro Edition. I've heard that so often, and people keep saying don't hold your breath, it's not going to happen. I disagree with this purely on the basis that this would give Nintendo money, and like any company out there, Nintendo loves money. Since people have been wanting one for years, I'd assume it'll be coming out to give people the chance to get this Pro Edition and to give them more money, okay? Another way for Nintendo to expand the lifecycle of this system is to create an XL or a larger edition of the console. I would go with a Elite edition, considering that the other one is called a Lite, so you could sort of play on that word there. That would be smart. Admittedly, that would take away from the I can take this anywhere easily and it just fits in my pocket sort of thing idea, but I mean, if it can fit into your bag, it's fine, and if you don't have pockets big enough to use the current one, then it's fine again. So that's another option for Nintendo. And the other thing that I can see happening is making sure that games like the tentatively titled Breath of the Wild 2 and the upcoming Metroid Prime 4 will be working games for the base Switch, but will also need updated hardware in order for the game to run seamlessly on a newer console. Not necessarily a next generation console, but a newer console. And by that, I'm back on the idea of that Pro and the Pro XL edition of the console to make the system's life just last and, make people want to play the console and want to buy these upgraded versions. Because if you're going to play Breath of the Wild 2 and it's slowing down on the base console, you may feel like 4 or 5 years have been long enough and you want to get a new one. That's possible, right? It may not allow for next-gen games, by the way, to be ported successfully, but let's be real here. Everybody who's clamoring for that next-gen Switch console from Nintendo right now, you're being a bit silly, okay? And that's just to put it lightly, right? Look at the facts. The PS4 and the Xbox One released in 2013, while the Switch released 4 years later in 2017. Now, that's how that works. That effectively means that Nintendo still has a little bit of time with this system, and they're doing this the smart way, to be fair. Last time they released a severely underpowered system, the Wii U, in 2012, and then a year later they were basically clobbered, hammered, and smashed by the Hulks that were Sony and Microsoft at the time. In order to avoid that competition, it's just obvious that they'll want to wait it out and let people get their PS5s and Xbox Series X's or S's or whatever it's called when they release their next edition of Xbox. I'm not really a big Xbox guy, in case you haven't noticed. And then Nintendo will likely dive back into the pool and sell their next-gen console. That's just the smart way to do it, and the reason for the idea of a Pro Edition or an XL Edition stems from the DS and the 3DS lifespan, which was also a smart option for them. Both consoles had upgrades. The DS even, by the way, had the Lite and the XL Edition, so this is one of those likely steps for Nintendo to take before trying to compete with next-gen. Why not compete with themselves this gen? And even though people want to get those upgrades games in the upgraded consoles, let's be real, if you want to play those games, you're going to get a PS5 because you know the PS5 is going to play it crazy good, crazy amazing, and the graphics will just be stunning for you there. You're not going to wait and get those things straight away. Nintendo would be foolish to try and compete with them because, especially with the hardware that they've got, unless Nintendo wants to sell a Switch for $2,000 and just make it basically an Apple Mac on the go, it's up to you, right? That's just not smart for them. So I think that they'll wait it out. Do I think that this system will be around for 10 years like some people are trying to predict? No chance in the world. I don't think that's going to happen. By that time, the console will have needed so many upgrades and revisions that it'll either be dead or defeated by consoles that are way beyond it, or will literally have to be called the Switch 2. That's what it'll have to be by that point in time. And, we'll have that next-gen console anyway, so I don't see any reason for Nintendo to do that. It doesn't make any sense, but those are my thoughts, and I tried to lay them out for you as quickly as possible. If you enjoyed the video, hit that old like button and consider subscribing. If you've already subscribed, then thank you so much for coming back, and let me know what you think about all of this down below. Your opinions are always appreciated. Otherwise, that is all from me. I'm done. I'm out. Peace.